first thing most people learn about tanks is who built the biggest or who won the wars. Far fewer notice the quiet engineers in Central Europe who, despite limited resources and turbulent politics, helped shape armored warfare for nearly a century. Slovakia from the Czech Republic, these nations designed, refined, licensed, and modernized some of the most influential armored vehicles in history. This is the complete story of every Czech and Slovak tank ever made: original designs, licensed builds, and their lasting legacy. The interwar foundations. Czechoslovakia's rise. After World War I, Czechoslovakia inherited strong industrial capacity from the former Austro-Hungarian Empire. Companies like Kota Works and KDS Komorowska Kolban, Danik quickly became global leaders in armored vehicle design. LTVZ-34 1934, Czechoslovakia's first true domestic tank, the Leka tank, VZ-34, was lightly armored and modestly armed with a 37mm gun. It was never intended as a battlefield behemoth, but as a reconnaissance and infantry support vehicle. Although limited in numbers, it proved that Czechoslovak engineers could design a fully functional tank from the ground up. LTVZ 35 1935. The real breakthrough came with the LTVZ 35, more robust and better armed. It attracted international attention and was exported to Romania and others. When Nazi Germany occupied Czechoslovakia in 1939, hundreds of these tanks were absorbed into the Wehrmacht as the Panzer 35 Ti. They fought in Poland, France, and even early in Operation Barbarossa, proof of the design's quality. LTVZ 38 1938, often regarded as one of the best light tanks of its era. The LTVZ 38 was fast, reliable, and well armed for its class. Under German control, it became the famous Panzer 38T, forming the backbone of several panzer divisions in 1940-41. More importantly, World War II, occupation, production, and adaptation during German occupation. Czech factories were fully integrated into the Nazi war economy. While no entirely new Czech tank models were fielded under Czechoslovak national identity, the continued production of 38T-based vehicles made the country one of Germany's most important armored manufacturers. At the same time, Czechoslovak engineers continued to refine manufacturing techniques, experience that would shape post-war tank production. Post-war Czechoslovakia, Soviet influence, local innovation. After World War II, Czechoslovakia fell within the Soviet sphere. Indigenous tank design gave way to licensed production of Soviet models. But this did not mean simple copying. Czech and Slovak factories often introduced improvements in manufacturing quality, optics, and later modernization packages. T-34 85th Czechoslovak production. The iconic Soviet T-34 85th was produced domestically in large numbers after the war. While the design was Soviet, Czechoslovak-built versions were known for high manufacturing standards and reliability. These tanks equipped the Czechoslovak army and were widely exported to Allied nations. T-54 and T-55 licensed production beginning in the 1950s. Czechoslovakia became a major producer of the T-54 and later the T-55. Again, while not an original design, Czech and Slovak factories became essential suppliers for the Warsaw Pact and developing nations. Thousands were built, and many were later upgraded locally with improved fire control systems and armor. T-72 Czechoslovak production. By the 1970s, the T-72 became the backbone of Czechoslovakia's armored forces. Produced under license, it was the most modern tank ever built in Czechoslovakia. Local engineers later developed upgrade packages that would become especially important after the Cold War. After 1993, Czech and Slovak paths diverge. The peaceful split of Czechoslovakia into the Czech Republic and Slovakia in 1993 did not end their armored traditions. Both nations inherited large stocks of Soviet-era tanks and sought to modernize them for NATO-era warfare. Czech tanks T-72M4 CZ-2000s. This is the most advanced tank ever fielded by the Czech Republic and arguably the most sophisticated evolution of the T-72 platform in Europe. While based on the T-72M1, the T-72M4 CZ features a new power pack with a British Perkins engine, advanced fire control systems, improved armor and protection, modern communications, and night fighting capability. Though expensive and produced in limited numbers, It represents the peak of Czech tank modernization, transforming a Cold War design into a modern NATO-compatible main battle tank. Slovak tanks T-72M Dos, Moderna. 1990s Slovakia pursued its own ambitious upgrade path. The T-72M2 Moderna was an extensively modernized T-72 featuring improved fire control systems, explosive reactive armor, thermal imaging, a distinctive secondary 20mm autocannon mounted on the turret. The Moderna showcased Slovakia's ability to innovate independently, even if it never achieved large-scale export success. T-72M1 modernized variant Slovak upgrades. Slovakia also developed more cost-effective modernization programs for existing T-72 fleets, focusing on improved protection, mobility, and electronics rather than complete redesigns. Experimental and lesser-known projects. Beyond production models, both Czech and Slovak engineers explored concepts that never reached mass deployment. Advanced fire control and turret modernization projects for export markets. Prototype power packs and armor solutions. Joint ventures with Western firms during the 1990s. While these did not become new tank families, they reflect continued innovation in armored technology. What counts as every tank? If we define tank ever made as tanks designed, produced, or officially modernized by Czech and Slovak industry. The complete list includes original Czechoslovak designs LTVZ-34, LTVZ-35, LTVZ-38, licensed Soviet production T-34-85, T-54, T-54, T-55, T-72 post-1993 national modernizations T-72M4CZ, Czech Republic T-72M2 Moderna Slovakia, additional T-72 modernization variants. Tank destroyers like the Jag Panzer 38T Hetzer, while not tanks in the strict sense, remain inseparable from Czech armored history. Legacy. A small region with a giant impact. Czech and Slovak tanks rarely dominate popular memory the way German Tigers or American Shermans do. Yet their influence is profound. The LTVZ-38 shaped early German armored doctrine. Czechoslovak factories supplied tens of thousands of T-34s, T-55s, and T-72s that armed half the world during the Cold War. And modern upgrades like the T-72M4CZ and T-72M2 Moderna prove that innovation did not end with the fall of communism. From interwar ingenuity to Cold War mass production and post-Cold War modernization, Czech and Slovak engineers quietly built some of the most important armored vehicles ever to roll across a battlefield. Their tanks may not always carry famous names, but their tracks are etched across military history.